Good morning, everyone. Leah Dixon here in Port Coquitlam, British Columbia. I am here for my regular Wednesday morning live, and I am featuring a really awesome Sale-a-bration die set today. So I'm going to switch over so that you guys can just see my desktop, and I'll show you a little bit about the product we're going to use, and then we're going to start crafting. Hopefully you guys are finding ways to beat the heat. Very lucky for me. Sorry, I just realized I didn't turn on my headphones. Hopefully you guys can hear. So lucky for me, my craft room is in the basement, so it is nice and cool in here. Really, really nice. All right, so the product we're using today are these tree lot dies, and then I'm pairing it up with the He's All That stamp set, just because there's a great sentiments and stuff in there. So these are from the Sale-a-bration catalog, page 12 and 13, and I love the samples they've created, but they're all Christmas samples, and I'm not I've made a few Christmas cards now, but I'm really just in 38-degree heat not feeling Christmas. So today's card is not a Christmas card, but we are going to use these tree lot dies. With any purchase of $120, you can earn these for free. So here we go. I'm going to move these out of the way, and we're going to bring in just a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of crumb cake cardstock. And today's card is actually, I'm using a sketch from Freshly Made Sketches to create today's card. So that's kind of leading the decisions on a lot of things that we're going to do. So I've also got here a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 basic white, so exactly the same size as my crumb cake piece. And I'm going to grab the 4th smallest or 3rd largest circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. Love these. These are new in this year's annual catalog. And honestly, I don't know what I would do without them. I pretty much use them on every card I create ever. All right, so I'm not going to bring my big machine over, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop over there right now, and I'm going to use this die to cut, oh, sorry, I almost forgot the most important part. Before I do that, I'm going to stamp on here. So I've got the Every Day With You is Another Adventure stamp from the He's All That stamp set, and I'm going to ink it up and stamp it in the very center of this piece of cardstock using Bermuda Bay ink. Now, I don't need to worry about orienting it any particular direction. I just have to worry about getting it in the center of that piece of paper, because we're going to die cut it, and then we can put it down however we want it. So we need to do that. Now, normally I often would cut my pieces first and then stamp on them, but I find this one very hard to line up inside the die. So it's easier to stamp it and then die cut it. And then we're going to save this outside piece because we're going to use it. Oh, hi, Tracy. I know the trailer is so cute. So I've stamped this in Bermuda Bay. We're going to go die cut this, and I'm using an extra large piece of paper because we're going to use this as a template for some, we're going to do some masking with some blending brushes afterwards. And so this is going to create the perfect template. But I also wanted this element for the card front. So double duty. Now, I'm not going to bring my big machine over, and this is just a little too wide to fit into my mini. So I'll be right back. I'll let you guys look at those gorgeous dies while I'm cutting. All right, so there we have it. My stamped image, I die cut that. So now I've got this little piece. I'm going to set it to the side. We're going to use this on our card front today. And then I've got my template for doing some sponging, which is the next thing I want to do. So what I'm trying to create is 3 circles in a row here on my card. Now, if you kind of hold this up, now it's a bad angle for you guys, but it's a great angle for me. I can kind of see through, and I can see the edges of the paper, kind of like if you use a light table or something, then you'll be able to see through. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab some Coastal Cabana ink. And making sure to really hold this in place because I don't want it moving on me. I am going to sponge a Coastal Cabana circle here onto my crumb cake background. Now, you can make this as light or as dark as you'd like. I want it to create the effect of like a dusky sky. So I don't want it too dark, but I want that kind of hazy, like, I don't know, sunset-ish, but like in the forest sunset-ish, like shadowy kind of color. And then I'm going to repeat down in the other corner. So again, making sure that you're really holding that still. You don't want it to slide out on you. All right. So there we go. We have 2 of those beautiful little Coastal Cabana circles on our card. And then our 3rd circle, and this is actually the sketch from Freshly Made Sketches, is the 3 circles like that in a row across our card. So that's our sketch layout. But now we need to make it interesting and fun. We've fulfilled the requirement for the challenge. Let's have some fun with it now. So I'm actually going to bring in a scrap paper because I'm going to make a little bit of a mess on my desktop. Because I'm going to grab my scissors and open them up wide, and I'm going to kind of scratch up the edges and make them a little rough. Now, the other person who I'm kind of using as inspiration for this card is Elizabeth Price from Seeing Ink Spots. If you checked out my Hand Stamp Sentiments card from yesterday and went to the Hand Stamp Sentiments page, you would have seen her card there, and the colors on it just inspired me so much that I paired it up with this sketch challenge to create my own card. But I loved the colors she used. So here we go. Just roughing up the edges a bit. So I'm literally just dragging them along the edge of the cardstock. And so you can see I'm making a big kind of cardstock mess here, which is why I got the scrap paper. Okay, a little bit more. All right. So just kind of creates more of a rough and, I don't know, manly look to this, because my intent is that this is a Valentine-ish card, just an I love you kind of card to give to a sweetheart, or I guess to a friend, because that sentiment says every day with you is another adventure. And that is kind of life with Noah here. Every day is an adventure with him. You never know what crazy things he's going to get up to. So, all right. There we go. So now because I did this over top of the scrap paper, I can just pick that up and whisk those off into my scrap bin under my desk. And I'm going to keep this scrap paper as well one more moment, because I'm going to do one other messy thing before we start putting our card together. And that is to grab some Wink of Stella. And so not over top of your card, because if it drips, what a mess. But I'm going to get my Wink of Stella going. And then I'm going to tap it over my card and splatter my card with Wink of Stella. Okay, and I do want some bigger drops, so I'm going to actually that's pretty good, I think. So I've made quite a mess around, which I knew I would. Now it's not quite the effect I was hoping for. I wanted something a little bit more stark, so I'm going to do a little bit of white ink as well. So I always kind of have this out on my desk. This is white ink on a clear block, and you can just kind of refresh it by adding a little bit of water to it, or you could put a new drop of white ink on there. I really should clean it up at some point, but I'm kind of lazy. And I'm going to add some white splatter. Oh, I might actually need some more ink. Okay, so white ink comes not inked up. It comes in an empty ink pad and a refill bottle. Oh, I just had it. Where did it go? Where's some mark? Black. Oh, of course. Right when I'm looking for it. There we go. So it comes in a re-inker bottle like that. And you literally just need a drop of it. There we go. All right. So really not much. All right. And then take my water painter here. It might be runny enough to splatter. We'll see. Nope, it's not. So I'll add a little bit of water to that. There we go. There. Now I've got a splatter happening. So we've just got some white and some Wink Estella splatter going on there on this card, just to create kind of a messy background. And then to clean out your water painter, you just run it until it runs clear onto a paper towel or even under the sink. And just, yeah, make sure you run it till it runs clear. And then you can wipe up your block or do what I do, and I just leave it out for the next time I want some white ink. All right, so with that kind of done, I'm going to take this my splatter protection piece as well as the piece that we've painted and everything. I'm going to set that to the side to dry while we do some fiddly work. All right. If I can't remember where I put it later, it's on top of my paper cutter. All right, so now I'm going to bring in some adhesive sheets. These are not necessary per se for this card, but they sure make it faster and easier. And I've got two little pieces of Bermuda Bay here. They're kind of, I think this one's like 5.5 by 1 3/4, and this one's 1.5 by 5 1/4. They don't need to be super wide. And I'm going to actually trim up my adhesive sheets. So these come in 6 by 12 inch sheets. And then I just kind of trim them down as needed. So I'm going to trim this down to 5 inches because I don't need it quite as long as my pieces of cardstock are. And then I'm going to trim it down to what I said, 1.5. So just slightly less than 1.5. There we go. Oh, and I need 2 of those. Okay, so I'll do one more. 5. I'll do that one at 1.5 since it's going on the other sheet. Okay, there we go. So I've got 2 little strips of adhesive sheet here, and we're going to put them onto the back of our pieces of Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay cardstock. Now, like I said, they're not necessary. You can use a liquid glue and mini glue dots and like whatever you want to adhere these, but I just find this is way, way easier. So there's a little line there that we're going to peel back and pop that on. Oh, not very straight. That's okay. And then come in here and peel back the other side. Oh, come on. Sometimes it's very cooperative and sometimes it really doesn't. There we go. All right. So that one's done and ready for us. We'll do this one as well. Then we will start some die cutting. All right. So yeah, if you guys don't have adhesive sheets, these are fantastic when you're working with intricate dies like the trees on this die set. Okay. Oh, come on. There we go. So with that done, I'm going to grab one more piece of cardstock, but we don't need adhesive on the back of this one because it's going to be for the big trailer body. So that one's easy to attach with dimensionals or whatever. So I've got my, what is this? The silver foil pack. It actually has 3 colors of silver in it. So I'm going to go for the one that's kind of the shiniest one. You can see it's also my favorite one because I'm almost done with it. And so we're going to use that, and it's great because there is kind of a grain to it. And I love that in this case, the piece I have, the grain is going horizontally, which is what I want for our little trailer. All right. Oh, it looks very gray on the screen. Interesting. It's not, it's silver. All right. So we're going to grab our plates now, plate number 3 and plate number 2. And I'm going to start by die cutting our trailer in our silver. And again, because it has a grain to it, I'm really going to make sure that I set this down with the grain so that it has those horizontal lines. There we go. Pull that little guy through. Now what I love about this die, if you saw yesterday's card, you might have noticed it in the picture, is that this die cuts the trailer, but it also embosses the lines so you can easily line up your other pieces, and it cuts out your windows for you. Okay, so those I'm going to save and use them on another trailer that might need, you know, some silver windows. I don't know. And I can save that to use that little edge later. All right, so that's our trailer all cut out. Now we have to start decorating our trailer. So I'm going to use, now this has the adhesive backing on it, remember? So this is going to be super handy. I'm going to use Coastal Cabana to do the trim at the top and bottom. And then I'm also going to cut out, although this doesn't really need adhesive backing, that's okay. I'm going to cut out one of the trees in this, and I'm going to cut out some curtains in the Coastal Cabana with that backing. All right, so we'll put all that together. Oops, come back. I'm going to put that up there so I can use that spot for something else again later. All right, so we'll run this sandwich through with our Coastal Cabana. There we go. And pop those out. Now sometimes because this has the extra backing, I maybe should have run it through one more time, but that's okay. We'll remember for our trees, and I'll run it twice. Okay, so now I'm going to save this because it still has lots of adhesive backing on it that I can use for other things. I actually keep all my colored cardstock with adhesive backing tucked into a little envelope so I can go there and pick and choose colors, especially when you're just trying to do a small element. It's nice to have that little baggie of colors already with the adhesive backing on them. All right, so I'll put those ones back. Now we're going to grab some trees. And this is the one that I really wanted these adhesives for because these trees are very intricate. And so to not have the adhesive backing would be a huge pain. All right, now we can fit those in so that we can maximize the usage of this so that we can do more later. All right, there we go. So I've got those, and what else do I need? So that's going to decorate our trailer. That's our backing tree. I think that's everything I need from Bermuda Bay. Perfect. So now we'll run this one through. Good morning, Gail. Just doing some work here with the tree lot dies from Sale-a-bration, and just showing that putting that adhesive backing on these is really, really going to be helpful when trying to put these very detailed ones on. Now, I did run that through twice to hopefully be able to get right through. There we go. Awesome. Oh, come on. Let go. There. And there. Now, I'm not worrying that these center bits aren't coming out. I've got a trick for how we're going to peel those back that will allow all of that to come out super easily. All right, so we'll pop those back onto our sheet so I don't lose them. There we go. We'll put away our dies and let's see if that background is dry and ready to create with. Actually, we'll give it one more second and I'll just show you. When I use an adhesive sheet with different colors, when I have these little extra bits that are going to be useful for something, I just pop them right in here into this bag, and then I have a spot that I can go to when I just want like that one letter or that one small element or something. And so super handy. And I just keep that where I keep my adhesive sheets. There we go. All right, so let's actually build our trailer while we let that piece dry a little bit more. So first thing we're going to do is peel the backing off of this. Oops. So you can use your fingernail, or if it's not coming, grab your take a pick tool, peel that backing off, and this piece just goes right here at the bottom of our trailer. And like it lines up super easily. And then we just attach that. Now I love using the adhesive sheets for this as well, because I do not like to use liquid glue on any foil papers, because if you get glue anywhere that you don't want it to, it leaves a weird mark on the foil and doesn't look very nice. So if I wasn't using adhesive sheets, I would definitely be using mini glue dots, and really you can get away with one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here. So just like the two ends, and the side bit, and that's enough to hold it down. All right, now before we put the curtains in the window, we are going to create some nice light in the back of our window. And so the way we're going to do that, there's two ways you could do it. You could die cut this again so that you get those little pieces that fit perfectly into the space. So that's one way you can get the window colors that you want. But what I actually have been doing is taking a little piece of vellum, sometimes just vellum, sometimes vellum and a color. Today I think we're going to use a color with it. Just taking a little piece of vellum, just enough to go over those windows, and then a little piece of any old other color. So in this case, I think I'm going to use Pale Papaya, but like Mango Melody would work, or Daffodil Delight. I guess it really depends on what color you're hoping for. Okay, perfect. In your windows, and we're going to attach this to the back. So this is where my mini glue dots are going to come in handy. Grab one to start. Oops. And I'm going to pop it right between the two windows. And I'm going to use that to put down my sheet of vellum, making sure it's staying fully behind my trailer so nobody can see this. Okay, and then I'm going to grab just a few more mini glue dots just to really secure this. But now I can see where they need to be so that they'll be behind the vellum and not in the window space. Okay, and a little more over here, right there. All right, so now that we've got that done, that's the look that our trailer has. So it looks like there's glass there, but I want it to be that soft evening glow in the window. So we're going to put a piece of Pale Papaya behind that. Now for this piece, we can totally cheat. You want to make sure that that Pale Papaya is covering up the full window space. And then I'm just grabbing a piece of tape, actually two pieces of tape, and I'm going to tape this in place. So that's fully covering And then I'm just going to tape it. Make sure your tape stays behind your trailer again, and tape it down at the bottom. And there we go. When we flip that over, now we've got the soft glow in the windows. Okay. So just really, you know, a nice little touch to your trailer. Now that we've got that done, we can go ahead and add the curtains. So this one has the adhesive backing on it. So we'll grab that backing and peel it off. And then these guys just lay in so perfectly up against the top of that window ledge. There we go. All right, so cute little curtains in there. That guy's done. We can now take our small tree and attach it to the outline of the other small tree. So now when we're doing this, I want to get my finger in between the adhesive backing and the cardstock. And then I want to pull the cardstock away from that backing and see a lot of those little pieces stayed behind. That's what we want. Okay, so now we have a few more to grab, and I'm just going to use my finger actually to peel them out. So I just pressed the back of it and then pulled my finger away, and they stayed all stuck to my finger. All right, so there they are. So I just have to wiggle those off into the garbage. A few of them are stuck. There we go. One more. All right, so that's how we pull those off. All right, so now our trees are ready. We're ready to put our card together. Let's see if that background is dry. Okay, doesn't look fully dry, but it looks dry enough to do what we need to do. So I'm going to start by putting this tree down here in the corner. So same thing as before, I'm going to find the point of my tree, get my finger between my adhesive sheet and my cardstock. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, and then kind of peel slowly, trying to leave as many of those bits behind. There we go. All right, so now this guy, I'm going to put him down so he's right up against the edge and coming off the top of this circle. But because everything's not totally dry, I'm going to have to cover that one up, hopefully with a tree. I think I'll do it like that. Peel the backing off this guy and cover up that spot that I smushed. That's too bad. So this is why you should always let your stuff dry before you start working. That's okay. So we'll put down this other tree. Oops. There we go. And then just use your finger to pull out the extra bits. There we go. And pop that tree on there. All right. Next thing we're going to do is attach our trailer to our card front. So you could use dimensionals or put it down flat. I'm actually going to put it down flat because I'm going to use dimensionals on my sentiment. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of Sale Plus on the back there and pop this guy down right in the corner there. All right, so we are almost done. Wow. A lot of fiddly bits to make, but once you've got all the bits made, the card comes together quite quickly. So now before I pop this guy down onto the center of our card, I'm actually going to get some linen thread, and I'm going to do kind of a big loopy bow to go behind that. So grab my linen thread. Oh, apparently I was already playing here. Okay. So we want to tie 2 big bunny ears, wrap them around, and make a nice big bow. Really kind of loose and floppy. And I'm just going to check the size of it by putting it behind and just kind of seeing how that works out. And that's a very nice size. So it's just big enough that it's coming out the ends. There we go. So with that done, I'm actually going to put a mini glue dot on the back of this bow and attach it to my card front. And so I just use the knot and push it down onto one of these glue dots and peel up. And this is going to allow me to lay this down so that it falls between my two elements on here. Oops. Come on, stick to the card, not me. There we go. Because yeah, I didn't want this going across any of my other elements. There we go. Now I'm going to take this piece and put some dimensionals on the back of it. So I'm just going to use up that. There we go. Last one. Start a new sheet here. There we go. And peel those backings off. Now this is where we do need to look at, darn it, it's still a little too wet. We do want to look at the sentiment now and make sure that it's tracking nicely for how you want to read it. And then I also want to get this lined up between my trees and my trailer. There we go. And then I'll push down. There we go. All right, so we're almost finished. We need to get this onto a card base and get some more embellishments on here. So somewhere, there we go. I have a crumb cake card base, and I have another piece of 4 by 5 1/4 white. This one we are going to glue to the inside of our card base. So I'm just grabbing some liquid glue here. You can use seal, whatever you're comfortable with. We're going to glue that in. There we go. All right. And now for this next bit, you can use, again, whatever adhesive you'd like. I would recommend letting this dry if you're going to use seal on the back before you kind of push down on it, because you don't want to smudge any of those nice little splatters that you've got. So I'm being very careful in how I'm putting this on so that I don't smudge my splatters. There we go. All right. Let's stay. All right. Lot easier if you let it dry. Now the final piece to this card is to add some fine sparkle adhesive back gems. So I love these guys. They come in Calypso Coral. I'm not sure if that's Daffodil Delight, Pacific Point, and Pool Party, but they're just beautiful. They're like the elegant faceted gems, but with color. And so I'm actually going to use the Pool Party ones and pop these onto my card front just as a little bit of extra bling on there. All right, pop that down there. Right there. And a little bit more up here. All right, there we go. So just some fine sparkle gems on there, and that is our finished card. So it's kind of like a little Valentine, but it uses those gorgeous dies, those tree lot dies. And so you can see there's a lot you can do with these that's not Christmas. And yeah, they're just really, really fun dies. This camper is amazing. I love them. I've seen them in so many colors, and just can't get enough of playing with that camper. So I hope you guys enjoyed that card today. And if you're wanting to earn these dies for yourself, you can do that with a $120 purchase. If you're kind of wondering, what to get for that, I would definitely recommend the, where is it now? There's the Tree Lot Dies, or the Trees for Sale stamp set that coordinates with the Tree Lot Dies, and then, stock up on your adhesives and everything. Oh, thank you so much. So yeah, that is it. I will be live again next. Trying to think when we go on holidays. I will be live again next Wednesday. We're still in town. So watch for that. And in the meantime, I'm going to be posting more cards using these tree lot dies. And I hope you guys enjoy that. You can also check out all my social media on my Linktree or on my blog, stampinwithleah.ca. And I do have an upcoming card class, well, actually a stamp camp. So lots of cards. I think there's 12 cards at the stamp camp coming up in the second weekend of September. But registration's happening now. So yeah, check that out and have a wonderful day. Hope you guys can stay cool today. Bye.